Alrighty, I'm here with Rhys from Century 21, who has been arguably our best and top performing customer for literal years now. Started with us in 2022. His partner Darcy and I first chatted summer of that time, and it was very quick and adamant that he needed an ISA. More importantly, the leads that were coming in from the lead source were great. They knew that they didn't have a lead gen problem. They had a serious conversion issue. And when they came to us, they're like, yeah, like this is the bolt-on solution that we're looking for. Funnily enough, I just remembered this. We actually met through a job posting, like through one of those job marketing platforms. And he was like, you know what? I was looking for someone in-house, but I understand the struggles that that's going to take. We've had and heard horror stories of that. So when Rhys got on the second call, I believe he was like, yeah, like this makes a lot of sense, even if it's short term. It was originally like a short term kind of stint of, hey, you know what? We'll give this thing a couple of months. They feel each other out because this is a partnership at the end of the day. And it's honestly been, one of the best things that happened to both of us since then. These guys are, like I said, the top performing customers in terms of our wheelhouse and just what we've seen. And I wanted to bring Rhys on directly to talk about that, just everything that he's seen from working with us to just appointments in general. And then we'll get towards the end of some advice for new agents. So I'll let you take it away from here.
You're letting me go?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
So
just
you know what? First question.
yeah.
How, or actually, you know what? Back it up one step. Why would you recommend an ISA? Why do you think an ISA is important for, it could be solo agents, it could be teams like yourselves, just in general. Why do you think an ISA is good?
ISAs are great. Well, Brandon and his team are great because it takes away a lot of the waste of time calls. Like they do the waste of time calls for you. The ones that aren't gonna don't pick up, aren't gonna transact, aren't gonna make an appointment. We simply get here's your appointment,
Hmm.
which is much more efficient than and I've done it the hard way. I've essentially tried to be an ISA while being a real estate agent, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. And
Yeah.
I want to go sell the house. I don't want to, be calling dead leads all day.
I say this to everyone. It's a good, even every once in a while, like still consistently. I don't care how experienced you are. It's a good thing to maybe keep sharp. But Reese and Darcy, they're a bit of a unique case because they have. We'll talk about this in a minute. They have so many appointments that they could kind of just dip into that pipeline. They don't even have to really call their own new leads anymore. We're obviously taking that fully on. Even their nurtures, we've taken fully on. But it's nice, like I recommend, to stay sharp and just keep on top of the ball. It's good to call, leads once in a while and not lose that too much and be too delegated. But at the same time, you guys knew, hey, we want to scale this damn thing. We know that we can't spend 4, 5, 6 hours a day on the phone personally. It's just physically not going to be possible. And if we want to hit that 500 to a million or a million plus in GCI, there's just no way we're going to be able to do it on our own. So you were willing
Yeah,
to, I think this is where agents get tripped up. It's like that investment. It is a risk. It was a risk back then to be like, hey, forking out a couple grand a month is not the easiest thing that I've ever been able to do. But you know what? If it's a step that's needed, you guys were willing to pull the trigger and you did it immediately. Okay. I remember from our first call to just getting ramped up, you're like, let's just do it. Let's just like screw the waiting time, ramp up quick as you possibly can, and we'll get the ball rolling
so we'll
from
get to
there.
ramp up as well, but I should say that I do still spend a lot of time on the phone. You're right. You can't not be on the phone. I spend at least 2 hours on the phone a day,
Yep.
but it's not as much of the no answer. No, they're essentially warm leads as opposed to really, really cold, you know?
Exactly. That's the big thing. And you guys, we were talking about this off record, off air, where it's like these guys, what separates them too, a big factor of it is like send us appointments no matter what. As long as it's not someone looking at 3 in the morning or something, we will figure it out from 9 to 9, from 8 to 9, whatever the hours need to be to, accommodate the lead schedule. Even if they're not technically qualified, if someone's agreeing to a meeting, they signed up on our site, there's some type of intent there, and we'll figure it out from the rest. Like if I'm not available, send it off to him. If he's not available, we'll figure it out from there. Just send us absolutely everything. And that is a big thing that I would say personally, 90% of agents just aren't even doing. They're not even thinking of that, let alone doing it. So that's a big factor. And I wanted, to touch on, I guess the numbers, like that's why it's a testament to how many we're at 400 plus appointments booked. And how many transactions would you estimate are kind of in flow right now in terms of just 2024 to
So
date?
for 2024, I think we're in the 12, coming up to 15, 12 range.
Hmm.
But total since we started is almost 30. And I'm not including, those are organic. I'm not including the repeat and referrals. So that's starting to really compound for us now. Because if you sell someone a house, more often than not, you're their client for life, right?
Yeah,
You're the realtor for life. So we're starting to get those back again. The start of this year, I had one of our first ever leads back in 2022. They bought with me. They bought again this year.
exactly.
So it's
And
just gonna keep
you guys
growing.
gave it the time. You gave it the
Yeah.
time to finally see like
Yeah.
the fruits of it just start, and it's going to continue. Like they're going to refer three more people. Someone's going to buy or sell again. They're going to buy an investment property and maybe want to sell that and then get into a nice big personal home, whatever the situation is. And that's I can't touch on that. You guys have an incredible level of service. I know that. So that's like totally separate from us. But keeping them is obviously a huge thing of, I guess it's just general retention, right? You want people to continue buying with them. You want to increase I call it like lifetime value. Like if
Yeah.
someone can purchase and be worth 30 grand to you, wouldn't you spend a couple $100 on that lead total from the ISA to the Google to all that kind of stuff? And when I do these numbers, you guys are super on top of it. So that's a huge factor of it. In terms of transactions. What do you recommend to new or existing agents who want to start online leads? Like do anything from timeline to how much they should or will expect to spend, anything that you recommend is like terms of housekeeping and best practices.
Um, Spend what you can to start. Obviously, everyone's gonna have a different budget. I don't know
Mhm.
where you are in your career, whatever it is, early or been in there a while, but spend what you can. But we found, so we started relatively inexpensive from our perspective.
Mhm.
Um, but we put it this way, we've tried print media, we've tried we still occasionally do like wedding shows and trade shows and uh, we've tried a bunch of different kind of lead gen
Mhm.
um, possibilities. Convertify was the best. So it's essentially a 3.5 to 4x your money at a
Yeah.
minimum. So if you're on top of your leads, if you must have a CRM, you must put them in to your CRM, you must follow up. Um, you the more money that you put in, the more you will get out if you're doing the right things. If you're making those calls, if you're keeping your appointments, if you're following up and making sure those potential clients are serviced,
Yeah.
you will make money. There's no
We were saying that it's like you guys are how do I say it? You're pros at squeezing every last drop of juice in terms of the funnel. So everyone comes in and there's going to be some that we book that we were talking about this where they're just not qualified. And after speaking with you, the expert, they're telling us 550. In reality, it's like 300 or 250. And in Ottawa, where we're talking, that's very, very difficult, almost borderline impossible, right? So some markets it's going to, differ. In Toronto, that's physically impossible as well. So obviously play these numbers in as you will, but point is they're just exhausting every little bit of it. They're not blaming Convertified. They're not blaming the lead source. They're not even really like blaming themselves or getting negative. They're just saying, hey, this is what it is. This is the situation. But you know what? By the third or fourth next appointment, it could be a transaction. It could be just a deal done very, very quickly. That's going to pay our ad spend back for the entire quarter or something like that, right? For the next couple of months. And look at it that way versus, saying, hey, yeah, this sucks or this is just not working and cut off too shortly. I don't mean to get cliche, but it's like that meme where the guy's digging for gold and he's like right there, and then the other guy is just constantly pushing through, and he eventually finds the diamond or gold. Like that's the situation that these guys were in. I don't think we saw a deal done. I'm trying to. I think it was like maybe 5 months in, 6 months in, maybe
I
even a
would have
little
said
bit
six, yeah,
longer.
5 or 6, but we were on top of it and eventually it comes and yeah,
You guys, it was just the
you start to
follow.
compound, yeah.
The last thing is just the just relentless follow-up. And I mean, like, hey, exhausting, not just calling them once and saying, yeah, this is trash, don't call them again. They didn't no show or they didn't show. It was a no show. It's like, what are you talking about? You tried 3 to 5 times. This is our best practices. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to take it back for you. This is kind of where we get in tandem, where Rhys and Darcy, they'll say, hey, we tried 3 to 5 times. We tried 7 times because we were texting back and forth, but it just dropped off here. You guys take it back. We're going to also continue trying. It's like, that's just a testament to people who are going to be successful, and the others who say, yeah, I missed my original appointment time. I couldn't call them until, 8 o'clock, 3 hours after, and they no showed, just dead leaded. It's like, what? You're not working.
I've got a very good example and a very good story of that. That Darcy just closed one 2 weeks ago. He
No
showed
way.
me the text. You can show the text like, and there's 15 of them. Hey, so and so, it's Darcy again. They had some kind of brief conversation way
Yeah.
early a year ago, and then it just stopped. And then Darcy's texting him once a month, and he
Hmm.
shows me, and it's just nothing, nothing, no reply, no reply, no reply, no reply. Literal year later, the guy texts him back. He's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm finally ready," and he bought a house that week.
I've
That
seen
week.
that. That's
And
crazy.
the only reason this might help people, the only reason Darcy continues to send that text, A, is because it might go somewhere, but also us as a team, we track how many follow-ups we do to kind of rile each other up. And like if you're not
Love it.
working, that's your job. If you're not doing that, then it shows on the board, So
You're
like he
losing
does
money.
that
I
exactly. So that's
love
why he
it.
did it to keep his numbers up on the board, and it worked out.
That's crazy. And
Yeah,
that's
doesn't
I
always work
saw.
like that, but
No, no, no,
like
for sure.
you gotta try.
The scary part about this is where it's like I'm open to both ways. You can automate that. Like people don't realize you can
Oh,
automate
for
half of
sure. Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
but it's like seriously, for those listening, 30 seconds, maybe like a minute a month for each like specific high
Yeah.
opportunity. Obviously, if it's someone who told you to screw off and they're at like a $300,000 budget, it's like, but you know what?
Yeah.
That could still work too. But I'm just
But I
thinking
like those ones because if you tell me I will call you until you say no. I will call you and text you until you say no. So if you say no, you're off my list. I have one less call to make
for
for the
sure.
rest of the
Exactly.
month. So there you go. That's fine with me too,
I like that. That's what we're trying
Yeah.
to get to. Is like I hate maybes. I hate people who
Maybe
you've either
suck.
never spoken to them or it's like, yeah, you know what? I want either firm yes or firm no. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if that takes 10, if it was like guaranteed, I always say it's like if you see this on the other side, if a genie came down and said, hey, all it's going to take is like 15 follow-ups, and that follow-up could be worth even a $10,000 commission. And you're like, all you got to do is just once a month for the next 15 months or 12 months, 8 months, whatever, just send them a welcome email, send them a video. I know you guys do that too, where it's just general content, just something light. Would you want to do that? And it's like 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, people are going to say, hell yeah, I would do that. But it's this
Yeah.
blockage, right? You don't know what you don't know. And I get that. I'm resonating with that. But at the same time, it's like 30 seconds, a minute to send these and just block off. And like we said at the beginning, where it's like 2 hours a day. I mean, you could go that extreme, or it's like 30 minutes a day. Really, if you really wanted to, you could just get away with that and just
Start small too. I remember
focus
starting with, I promised myself I'd do five a day.
5 a day.
5 calls a day is like not a lot. Like,
No,
and that's not
it's
like it's really not a lot. Like you'll quickly be 10, 20, 30 a day. Like, and it's just, what
it
else are
starts
you
to
doing?
compound.
Unless you're actively selling a home, what else are you doing? There's
That's what I mean.
no, yeah, yeah. What
It's
else are you
like
doing?
out on showings, but yeah, I like that. So, and
And
that
sorry, I'll say I'm not perfect. Like I know, like it sounds like we're king of the world here. We're not. I do, you can see my if you track my sales on a graph
mhm.
in, let's say, December, January, Christmas party time, maybe you go on vacation,
Yep.
take your foot off the gas a little bit. I will see it every single time. If I do that 2 months later, the
Mhm.
graph starts to dip because I have not been making those calls as I should be every single day. If you let
Oh,
that gas off, you will feel it
I
for sure.
love it. Okay, that's the last thing I'll say. That's where the effective, and this is actually perfect. We're filming this end of October, October 29th, 2024. And a lot of people I'm having every week, we're having these conversations of like, hey, I'm thinking of turning off ad spend. That's the worst thing you could do. Or, hey, I'm thinking of lowering the budget a little bit, maybe taking my own calls kind of thing. I think it's going to be a really slow season. It's like, well, one, you're already playing, you're already kind of, I don't want to get too in the woods here, but manifesting that for yourself. You're putting that out there for one, but for two, it's like, you're not going to see the effect of this. Unfortunately, I hate that it's like this until February or maybe even March, where you're going to see the effects of taking these things off and taking the pipeline off until that time. And then you're going to wake up and be like, the hell's going on? Why is everything so slow right now? Just like Rhys said, where it's like, hey, one day you're going to see the effects of like, oh shit, that's because of the no calls that I did for those 3 months, or the ad spend that I drastically cut for. I get it. Like he said, afford what you can, spend what you can. Don't go crazy. Don't, go homeless doing this stuff. But at the same time, it's like really try to manage that. And if you don't have to turn it off, please don't. For not even our own sake, but yourselves. You're going to see the huge negative effect that just slaps you in the face one day to be like, I have no deals in the pipeline. Like I'm screwed. And that's just this game of like, it's like quarterly basis where Q4 stops. You're not going to see the result until Q1 to Q2, and so on and so forth. So just keep things consistent. We've both said that so many times, and I think that's the recurring theme and common denominator. Is just like, just keep it on, please, for everyone's sake. It's gonna make things so much easier when tracking. So,
Yep.
no, that's incredible. This is perfect. I thank you so much for your time. For anyone listening, drop a comment, or if you have questions for either one of us, let me know, and we'll take it from there. I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you.